YOLO! I am super stoked to announce we have a returning guest to the channel for another collaboration video on a topic that is near and dear to most of our hearts. The topic subject today will be our favorite video games, or our top 5, how we would rank them, and what we like about them. The special guest is the one, the only, the returning Quade. Link to his channel will be in the description below. Y'all definitely gotta go check him out. And I wanted to give a special shout out to the sensor on my truck breaking down. Normally something like that would suck, but it being broke down gave me about 7 hours today of quote-unquote downtime, which I used to catch up on some of my editing for other projects and for this video here. But without any further ado, because I don't, let's let Quade get into it.
What's going on, guys? My name is Quade, and thank you to Alex Rose for having me on here. And I'm answering some questions, so yeah, let's get into it. Quade, what was the first video game you can remember playing, and who introduced you to it? My first video game I ever played was, I think, Lego Harry Potter years 5 through 7. That's the first one I remember playing, because I remember waking up from a nap, walking to the living room. My dad's like, "Hey, you want to play games?" I'm like, sure. So we hop on the Wii, get the Lego Harry Potter up, and we play the one level. Like, it starts off where you're like flying under the bridge, like you're on brooms with all these other people. I think it might be the first level in the game, but you fly through the bridge and you go to this park. You gotta like escape the park or some shit. I don't. Oh, sorry, Alex. Yeah, that's it. Number 2. What are your top 5 favorite video games and why? I don't really have a top 5. I've never really thought about it very much. My favorite game of all time, story-wise, is either GTA 4 or I think it's called A Way Out, the Prison Break game. Those are both really good. And if you've never watched or if you've never played A Way Out, I'd recommend skipping this part because I'm about to spoil it. So the part that messed me up was right at the end when I think his name's Leo. I don't remember which one the skinny one is and which one's the undercover cop. But when Leo gets like messed up by the other, like he tricks him or whatever. Yeah, okay. Enough of that. It. If I'm not counting story, probably the one that messes with me the most is probably Minecraft Legacy Console on the PS3. I probably had the most hours in that game out of anything, and I had a big Fortnite phase, so that's very surprising. I spent hours upon hours upon hours during the summer and after school and stuff working on that kind of thing. And yeah, it just kind of messed with me when they went away from that. But source code got leaked the other day, so we're back. I've been playing that nonstop. Been trying to get people in my dorm to play with me. Show who the real friends are, I guess, or something. I don't know. Let's go on to the third question. What are the 3 real-world skills that you would attribute to your gaming career? Real-world skills that are based off of my gaming knowledge. Not very much. I mean, if I play Fortnite for too long, I start like picturing Fortnite whenever I close my eyes. So that's probably one of them. You can't skate in real life. That's another one. Even though I like playing Skate 3, I am terrible at skating, but I'm bad at balance in general. And then don't drive into the other lane. Because it works in GTA, but in real life you die. That's not good. Okay, question 4. What is one thing in the gaming industry or studios that you think needs to be changed? Microtransactions. Man, I would rather pay for a game and have no microtransactions than play a free game that's riddled with, oh, you gotta get the cosmetics, you know? I'll buy a DLC if I like the game. Please bring it back to where you just buy the game and then you're chilling. I know a lot of people don't agree with that because they don't want to spend money, but I've been playing a lot of Steam games recently and I've been enjoying it. So, yeah, please go back to that, guys. And I don't like Skate 4. Okay, question 5. Lastly, if you had a team of developers at your command and a large enough budget to build your dream game, something you've always wanted to make, what kind of game would you make and what type of system structures, features would you put into it? Ooh, you bring the deep questions. So what's saying that I'm not rich enough for that right now? Actually, I'm not. I'm in a college dorm. I would probably take what they're doing with the Minecraft legacy source code right now, and they've been adding, like, somebody's been trying to implement the Aether into it and stuff like that. Probably do that. Just implement all the mods that I wanted to play on my PlayStation. And I always think that I could do on my PlayStation when I was younger because of Dan TDM videos and stuff. Implement all those mods onto my PS3 save, you know? Make it to where they worked on Legacy Console. That was always my dream when I was younger. Anyways, no more questions for me. Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna go. Thank you, Alex, for having me on. Sorry I had like a little brain fart at the end. I don't know what that was. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Check out my channel. It's at quadedede or something like. He'll do a collaboration, I'm sure. But yeah. Thanks for having me. Peace.
Massive round of applause for Quade. Thank you again, man, for swinging by, doing a little collaboration. I highly suggest all you guys go down to the description below and check out the link to his channel to see what he's been cooking up. But now I figure it's my turn to take a stab at these questions. The first one is definitely a humbling moment, as Quade's first game, he described playing it on the Wii. My first game is on this console here. The SNES, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Just a wee bit older. But the first game I can ever remember playing would be Yoshi's Island on the Nintendo. I believe I was around 2 years old when my mom introduced me to video games. So basically my entire life I've been playing. Narrowing it down to a top 5 favorites was so difficult because do I go top 5 based off of story, based off of playtime, based off of enjoyment, game features, replayability? There are too many variables. But I eventually just ended up picking 5 games that I really love from a wide variety of game types, from first-person shooter to side-scroller to strategy. And here are the 5 that I have come up with. Number 1. The greatest video game of all time, in my opinion, Minecraft. Number 2, one of my absolute favorites, the 2008 life simulation game Spore. Number 3, Pokemon. I know that's a very wide topic, so just the main Pokemon games, the mainline series, because I see the mainline series similar to how I see Minecraft. Minecraft is ever growing and changing and evolving and gaining new content, and Pokemon is ever growing and changing and evolving and gaining new regions and new Pokemon and new variant forms. So I think of it as more of one large game that can't fit into a single disc or file. Number 4, Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy Kong's Quest. It was almost Yoshi's Island. These two are like tied neck and neck. but I mentioned Yoshi's Island earlier, so I figured I'd go with this other classic from my childhood that I sank far too many hours into, and probably only ever discovered a tenth of the hidden things in this game. And lastly, something that is no surprise to anyone, Black Ops 1. I'm a Call of Duty fan, and old school BO1 had the zombies, multiplayer immaculate, and that story. Oh, that story had replayability. It had depth. It had Victor Reznov who will have his revenge. Peak cinema. Next question is, what are 3 real-world skills that I've gained from gaming? This will be very easy for me to answer. I'll rattle them off quickly because I actually made a video on this not too long ago. But the first one, resource management. The second one, creative problem solving. And the third one, I would have to say, is tenacity or indefatigability. Resilience, just getting up and going at it again and again and again. Doing the same thing over and over until brute force style you cause a different outcome. Some would say it's crazy. Others would say it's just a pro gamer move. Question number 4. What is something I think needs to change in the gaming industry? And I'm going to slightly piggyback off of what Quade had said because I think microtransactions are dumb. The cosmetics or the pay to win, the pay as you go, you buy a base game for $60 and then you end up spending an additional 60, 100, however much for the rest of the game, for the DLCs, and then there's cosmetics on top of it. That's dumb. I'd rather drop $120 on a brand new video game and have all the content in that game. Or make it to where things are unlockable. Back in the day, having cool camos for your guns meant something because you had to actually earn them. Now you can just swipe your parents' credit card and get whatever you want. So, that is one thing I think really needs to change. Second thing is online only. I hate online only type things. Now, I'm a huge fan, and we have the game in the background, Dead by Daylight, which is an online only game. Totally makes sense, 100% I am down with the sickness on that one. But what I hate is when I go to play a video game, and I'm playing by myself, no one else, just offline, but the fact that I'm not connected to the internet, I'm not online, means the game won't work. Stuff like that.
You know what really
aggravates me.
grinds my gears?
And lastly, if I had a team of developers and the money to build the game that I've always wanted, what kind of game would I build and what type of features or traits would I put into it? I would build a little bit of a hodgepodge, a Franken game. I'd take chunks of this and chunks of that and kind of mesh them together and hope that it flows. I like the idea of turn-based grid combat system like in the XCOM or Dawn of Hero games. Love those games, highly recommend them. But I'm also a pretty big fan of Dungeons and Dragons, and the way initiative is handled in that I think is superior to how XCOM does it. So instead of having all the good guys take a turn and then all the bad guys take a turn, it would be a random number chosen for every character on the field, and then it would go in descending order. So whoever was the fastest, whoever had the highest number would take the first turn, and then all the way down to the end of the first turn of combat. That is how I would handle combat. I would also initiate some Pokemon-esque logic system where fire beats plant, plant beats water, water beats fire. Everything has a counterbalance, so there's strategy to it. So you can build your own team, try and fill out weaknesses. Maybe you want to go for magic users or psychic users or full-on tanks and bruisers. I think that's how I would handle the combat side. Then we have the resource management side. I am a huge fan of optimizing things and trying to find the best possible way to do stuff. So when you have games where it's like, oh, if you put a farm next to a road tile, it'll get a 2% bonus to its production yield. I'm over there like, all right, how many road tiles can I squeeze per farm tile to increase the bonus? And does it stack on? And can I get this extra effect to boost the harvest yield? Those kind of things, they get me super excited, trying to build the best possible, most efficient, even if it's the ugliest hodgepodge of random items cluttered together for the optimal boost. That's the kind of base building type of thing I enjoy. So I would have one chunk of the game being the main combat, the meat and beans of the game. Then I would have a side portion of the game where you build your bases and you optimize them for resource gathering. And you can spend those resources on upgrading your guys or helping to unlock new ones. And then another, I'd say third, would be more of a risk style overworld tactical map where you can look at the entire world or multiple worlds you're playing on and see the enemy is moving troops from this world over to that world. They're probably going to attack that one soon on the next turn. So I could either send my strong people over there to prepare for our next battle, or I could hold them over here, or I could even go over there and start building a new planet. It gives you some options, and it splits the game up into like 3 chunks. So if you're more of a combat heavy guy, we got that for you. You're a base builder and you love resources and economy maxing, we got that. You like classic strategy and planning for an all-out long-term war, I got you covered. And then something else I would do is I would add a story mode and then a just open world campaign like freestyle sandbox. That's what I'm thinking, a sandbox mode. So if you wanted to go through the structured story and learn the lore of the world and what's going on, you got that. Or if you're like me and sometimes you just want to play a game and not be railroaded, we've got you covered. I've got all the bases covered in this super game. Plus, we'd even throw in some mini games here and there because sometimes a little break from the norm is fun. That's how you could recruit like specific units or special team members. You have to get the drag racer to join your team. You beat him in a motorcycle tournament or something. But those are my 2 cents on it. Thank you again, Quade, for being a part of this. And thank you guys for sticking out through the video. This video turned out a wee bit longer than expected, as you could probably tell from the different games in the background. But I also think that's thematically appropriate since we're talking about multiple different video games. I just kind of wish I had gameplay footage for the games mentioned in this video on games. We're hitting levels of games that shouldn't even be possible. That's 65% more game per game. But thank you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And let us know in the comments below what are your top 5 favorite video games of all time. See if we have some of the same ones. I'd love to compare and contrast. And on that happy note, I'll catch you on the flip side.